But that also brings me to something that I'm kind of scattered on this particular topic, but it brings to mind that George did make the recommendation that if you're going to pick your poison, stay away from accounting data, right? For a first foray.
Yeah, so that is that's been my, and I've just lived through this, right? I have the like Andrew, like you like to say, I have the scar tissue, right? I've been through the battles and the wars with things like this, and to be kind of more specific, is I I've seen this time and time again, right? From people in my network, from places where I've worked in the past, where people want to put their financial reporting. And when I mean financial reporting, I'm talking about your K's and Q's, right? Your balance sheet, income statement, statement of cash flows, things like that. Let's put that in BI also, right? And this is, and these, and that's generally, I get the, I get the reasoning, right? People, and this is generally more of a conversation we have with, smaller to medium-sized businesses who may not be able to make the investment in something as expensive as Hyperion Financial Management, or even Power BI Report Builder, something like that. But really, and I kind of, when I talk about that, right, there's question marks that pop up, right? People always say, well, this is a reporting tool, right? Why can't I do this reporting in my in my BI tool? So BI tools in general, and Power BI being one of them, really they're not meant for pixel perfect reporting, right? So your K's and Q's, right? If you're a publicly traded company and you have to post that out there, those are pixel perfect reports, right? They have to look a certain way. They have to have certain elements. You have to be able to footnote and subnote things like that, right? They're really not meant for interactive analysis. So keep those out of your BI tool. We're a Microsoft shop mostly, so there are other tools for those types of reports like SSRS, Microsoft's Power BI Report Builder, things like that, where those pixel perfect reports belong. Accounting data in general, if you're doing financial analysis, right, from a an operational perspective, that's perfect for Power BI, right?
Mhm.
And I think one of the, if we talk about finance in general, right, these people are in accountants, right? These people are great targets to be like your citizen data scientists, right? These are people who understand data, who understand math, who understand the formulas that they need to put in. These are the people with the super complex spreadsheets, right? Who should be able to transition to what goes on in Power BI with writing those DAX formulas and things like that. Um, so I think as opposed to, so we've talked about pixel perfect reporting and not putting your financial statements in Power BI. I think another time what we see with finance is that accountants really just want their data, and that's why I say maybe don't start off building interactive dashboards for them. Train them how to fish, right? Train them how to go out and get their own data using Power BI their own way, and then show them how it works. Show them the power of the tool. Let them evolve into citizen BI developers.
Right. Well, and the one thing that I will say though, which I think is important, which is probably there are certain things we could deep dive in
Hmm.
here, things that we will literally glance over in a sentence, right? And I can see some of the folks that are attending here that are going to be like, well, there's a lot to that, like some
Yeah,
of the things we mentioned.
yeah.
Um, you know, you also then at some point, um, once you've infected the organization and people are backing it, and you're starting to see some buy-in, right? At some point, um, people are going to want to make some decisions from this information. So at some point, the organization has to codify the program in such a way that says this report is our source of truth, right? It contains the most truthiness of everything. So Steve, the Power BI report you've been working on that you've got at your desk is great for you to think about things, but if we're making decisions, it's off of this this report, right? So I think over time, your program, once it evolves some legs and people are like, yeah, this is going to be a thing. I think people can start it. The tool is so powerful that allows people to explore this information and look at it and mash it and help them do their jobs. But you also want to make sure that as you're building out your program, that you start thinking about where are our hard and fast areas
Mhm.
that we're going to want to say that's the report we're all going to live off of. And as George and I've talked about before, well, the first things you do in any one of these programs is you dive in, as you pick your poison, as you pick your report, as you pick the first place to start, you have to define a lot of different things right up front. Like, and a lot of it just comes back to a standard vocabulary, a data dictionary. Like, what is revenue? Right? Does that include sales tax? Does it not include sales tax? Does it include this part? Is it for department only? Is it for
Mhm.
the entire organization? Right? Do we have any write backs on it? Like, what does it look like?
Yep. What do we do with intercompany? Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yep.
so those things can vary from department to department. So this one person could be pulling on revenue data to come in and start making some decisions in a meeting, and they're looking at it totally the wrong way because everybody else is using this other source of truth. And that's for another webinar. That's a totally different webinar. But those are things that are good problems to have because now people are adopting your product.